Everybody? Okay, good morning, everyone. We will call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming in. If you haven't already, please make sure you sign in at the back of the room on the little desk back there. I don't think you have anything else for reminders. Is there any public comment for anything that's not on the agenda? Any public comment? Okay. I wanted to start off by saying we're all very saddened about Corey Baucom's passing yesterday. And I'm going to let Commissioner Swenson say a little more since you knew him more personally.
Yeah, so I wrote this just because I didn't want to be stumbling up today. So we are deeply saddened by the passing of Corey Baucom. To say he left a mark on our community is an understatement. He was a retired teacher, the current superintendent at the Old Baldy Golf Course, and most importantly, a friend. His passion, dedication, and sense of humor have made a lasting impact on so many in our community. He will be greatly missed, and his influence will continue to inspire us for years to come. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and loved ones during this difficult time.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. He'll be very, very missed.
Yeah. All right, is there any other public comment?
I just wanted to, first of all, thank the staff. We have changed the security system at the courthouse. There is one door to enter. It's the back door closest to the hospital. That door will be the only door that you can enter. We've asked all the employees to park further away from that door, so there should be plenty of private parking there. There's 3 handicap spots. I know change is hard for all of us. We are doing that to protect our employees and the public. We've all heard of strange things going around the country at businesses and county officers and government offices. And we're being proactive as we can, being a small county. So I just want to thank the public. Hang in there with us. We are doing it to help you and our employees. Over the years, there's been a few scary times. Nothing huge, but we don't want it to get that way. So appreciate everybody's patience as we work through this.
I just want to add to that, too. We made the decision to make, I mean, it's kind of a long time coming. We've had a couple different security assessments from various entities, one of which being like the judicial people up in Helena. And part of that is securing the actual courtroom more. Again, like Debbie said, change is a little hard. The reason that door was chosen is because there is obviously dedicated parking, but also it accesses the elevator, and it's the only door that accesses the elevator. So that's why that is there. But it is closer parking for everyone, so that is good once everybody kind of gets used to that. It was interesting yesterday. Again, change is difficult, it's uncomfortable, but I think what's really been hard is it's kind of the realization that we need these upgraded security measures in our little town. And I think that that's, like, seeing it for real is kind of bothering a lot of people, especially longtime residents. Just someone said to me yesterday, I had someone come in and comment that, like, we shouldn't be living in fear. I agree, but we also can't put our head in the ground and just pretend like nothing ever happens. There's been incidents at courthouses all over the state, most recently in Lewis and Clark. Like Commissioner Randolph said, we have some events happen every now and then, nothing major, thankfully. So this is an attempt to keep our employees safer and the public as well, anyone who enters. So if anyone has questions, please let us know. And thank you for working with us. All right, anything else? Okay. First on the agenda is the airport hangar lease for ISAR Services, LLC. Did I say that right, ISAR?
Yes. Okay. I'm the commission liaison to the airport. We are all divided up into boards, and that is one of mine. The airport reconstruction, remodel, upgrade, whatever you want to call it, is pretty much done. There will be a few little things that need to be done. There may be quick little closures, but it's pretty much done, and I was out there Monday, and it's impressive. Because of that, now there's some new space, not new space, but they're ready for new hangars to come in if people are interested. And there is a waiting list of people that want to get the right size. So hopefully we'll have more of these built and more of these leased from the county. This one is for IZAR, and it is Mr. Clarence Shockley. And just so you know, the process is if somebody wants to lease a hangar out there, they get the paperwork through the board, the airport board. Abra is the staff person for that. Go over it, and then the airport board approves it, their location and all of that, and then it comes to us for final approval. And then they will need to work on if they need power, water, all of that. So this is the typical lease. It is for, I don't have the lot number. They've changed all those, but Abra does. But this is a lease for 12 cents per square foot for Clarence Shockley.
Debbie, are there several spots available,
Yes.
or is everything? There are.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a waiting list because people just want to get on the list and then see if it will work for them.
Okay.
The size, the location. Some may not, and they may go to Three Forks or Helena or whatever.
Do we have a lot of people from out of the county leasing?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's no space in Bozeman or Helena, is there?
And I don't think there is in the Three Forks anymore either. I think they're sold out.
Okay.
There's a lot of out-of-staters, but there's a lot of locals too. So it's a mix.
Okay.
And this lease, mostly he will use it for, I know nothing about planes, but repairing them. He has some contracts. So it's very interesting. It's not just for his personal plane. I'm sure that will be part of it. But he will be operating a business out of it. And he's done this for a very long time. That's what I have.
Perfect. I did not have any questions on this.
I didn't either.
Okay. Thank you for explaining all of that.
I would move to approve the airport lease for IZAR Services LLC, Clarence Shockley.
I will second that.
Okay, there has been a motion and a second to approve the airport hangar lease for ISR Services LLC. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Great, thank you.
Madam Chairman, if you'll get that signed, and then I
Yes.
think it has to be notarized, I'm not sure.
I'm going to sign it right now.
I don't know if it needs to.
I don't see a spot for
I don't
notary.
think so, and it's just your signature.
Okay.
And then I'll give that back to the airport board.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'll be excusing myself for the
Okay.
next few.
Okay. All right, next up on the agenda is discussion decision Nicole Brown, Community Development and Planning Director. Is it Spiker or Speaker?
Madam Chair, Spiker.
Spiker. Okay, Spiker Tract B minor subdivision request preliminary plat approval. This is Section 35, Township 6 North, Range 2 East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the Spiker Tract B minor subdivision. You commissioners have copies. You've received copies of the findings of fact and order report, copies of the preliminary plat application. There were no public comments received at the planning board meeting, therefore you did not receive any written comments passed on from my office because there were none. If I may just give a summary of the findings of fact and order report since it was available online.
That's fine.
And that way I'm giving more of an overview instead of a verbatim reading. So this one lot minor subdivision is being created from a 221.67 acre parcel. The reason it's a one lot subdivision and not two The remaining property will be greater than 160 acres, and in MCA as well as our subdivision regulations, we do not recognize any parcels greater than 160 acres as a tract or a lot. Therefore, this is a one-lot minor subdivision. It will be used for one single-family home. The access is off of Dry Hollow Road, and the approach permit has been applied for. The property is approximately 6.5 miles southeast of the city of Townsend. It's in section 35, township 6 north, and range 2 east. Let's see what else here. Land in all directions is are agricultural. Mr. and Mrs. Spiker own this large parcel and are surrounded by agricultural parcels. No public comment was received, and DEQ will be reviewing this parcel for the adequacy and impacts on groundwater. So what that means essentially is that before final plat can be received, DEQ will need to approve it for the septic and well locations. No impacts on agricultural water user facilities since there are none on this parcel. Impacts on local services should be minimal since only one residential unit will be added to this property. Also minimal impact on roads and traffic. We value each residential unit at 8 vehicle trips per day is how we quantify that. The Broadwater Rural Fire District will be responsible for fire protection, and the landowners, will be working with the Broadwater Fire District to come up with a fire plan for this project.
Based on that, since we are reviewing subdivision regs again today and addressing that specifically in there, that's would they be? They'll have to work with them either way, but they're going to be under, because this is prelim, they would still be under anything we've done previous to making changes, correct?
Madam Chair, that is correct. Okay. So we are currently utilizing the 2025 regulations. I think the most recent edit was September. I believe September was the last edit. In any case, if they receive preliminary plat approval, it's kind of a chicken and egg in a sense, but if this subdivision receives preliminary plat approval before you adopt new regulations, then they would be under the regulations that are in effect right now. So it's always regulations in effect at a time of approval.
Okay.
So which is a high possibility that they will receive preliminary plat approval before the new regulations are adopted. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Ma'am? Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
What else? Townsend Schools will be the school district that will serve this property. There was a letter in your application here under tab 32 from the Montana Historical Society that there is, where is this here? A historic irrigation system on the property. I just want to be very clear that that's not actually on this parcel. It's on the parcel as it exists today. But if you were to give preliminary plat approval and subsequently final plat approval to the subdivision and the smaller tract would be created, that historic irrigation system is not on that parcel. So MHS, Montana Historical Society letter essentially is for the greater 221 acre parcel because that is what is in existence today.
Okay.
Let's see, minimal impacts on wildlife and wildlife habitat, again, being that it's going to be one residence surrounded by agriculture, minimal impact on wildlife, minimal impacts on public health and safety, maybe of the greatest concern being that it's approximate to the county road and oftentimes speeds can be a factor, and those roads are not patrolled. They're not a priority patrolled road, right. Let's say that. So maybe just fencing and homeowner awareness is one of the greatest considerations. Personal responsibility, just as would do the same for any of us. Let's see. No easements on this subject parcel either. So I have a list of proposed conditions. There appear to be 11 of them. These are conditions that were proposed by myself to the planning board, and then subsequently, after multiple meetings with the planning board, These are planning board recommendations to you. So again, Madam Chair, I can read these verbatim, or I can give you an overview of what each of these conditions are.
I think an
Kind of a
overview is
summary.
fine. All of this is posted online. If anyone needs to find it, is with the agenda items on the calendar. And it's been there for a while.
Perfect.
It's fine.
All right, so condition number 1, any and all adopted state and county standards. That's just our standard condition for every subdivision. Number 2, DEQ approval will need to be received prior to final plat approval. Number 3, the subdivider will need to submit electronic copies of the subdivision to my office. Number 4, the mailbox location reviewed and approved by the United States Postal Service, if they choose to have on-site mail delivery. Condition 5, fire protection plan completed with concurrence by the Broadwater County Rural Fire District. Number 6, a signed and approved noxious weed management plan must be received. Number 7, the final plat prepared by a registered land surveyor in the state of Montana showing all utility easements on the subject property existing and proposed. Condition 8, these are restrictive covenants that are required to be placed on the property. A, that the parcel will be used for residential purposes only. B, how can I summarize this? Essentially, this is the waiving of a right to join an RID, which is Rural Improvement District. Condition 8C, that this is putting the landowners on notice, that the property shall be maintained in a weed-free manner. 8D, there's potential health risk from radon concentrations, and homeowner awareness and responsibility would be required. 8E, this property may be in a seismic zone, zone 3, and so contractors, homeowners should be made aware of that when constructing their home. Number 8F, this is our hold harmless clause, essentially that stating that if there is exposure to radon, if there are any hazards or any considerations because of an earthquake, or if there is a lack of water, that Broadwater County will be held harmless. So 8G, this is putting the landowners on notice of the agricultural operations in the vicinity. 8H, this is putting landowners on notice that domestic pets should be restrained on their property at all times. Condition 9, this is our requirement for a right to farm declaration. This is typically recorded with the covenants. Condition 10, the following improvements shall be installed prior to final plat approval. Any requirements by the storm drainage plan, weed management plan, fire protection plan, or approach permits. Any installation of mail delivery facilities and utilities shall be abutting and available to each lot. Condition 11A, all taxes must be paid, current and any delinquent. And 11B, the landowner must provide documentation that they actually are the lawful owner of the property. So that concludes my list of conditions as well as the summary of the findings of fact and order report, Commissioners.
Thank you. I went through this. I did not have any questions. It seems very straightforward. Yeah. I appreciate them taking the time to go through the subdivision process.
Yeah, I didn't have any questions. It was all complete and easy to read and understandable. So I don't have any questions or concerns.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the Spiker Tract B minor subdivision request for preliminary plat approval. It's going to be a long day.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll second that. There's been a motion and a second to approve the Spiker Tract B minor subdivision request preliminary plat approval. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Nicole, it's your show today. We will move on to the Meadows 3 subsequent minor subdivision, requesting a 1-year extension to the preliminary plat approval.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is, as you stated, a request for a one-year extension for the Meadows 3 subsequent minor subdivision preliminary plat. This subdivision was given preliminary plat approval on November 28th, 2022. Subdivision approvals are good for a period of 3 years. They can be extended for a mutually agreed upon period of time, which is why we're here. I say we. I'm here speaking on behalf of the representative, but the representative is here and may have more to add to this. I do have an official request here. I'm just going to read briefly the first paragraph. I believe each of you commissioners have a copy of this request as well. And so I'm just going to read this into the record because this was not posted online, and so just for the public's consideration. The Meadows 3 subsequent minor subdivision received preliminary approval November 28, 2022, and the developer commenced actions to satisfy the conditions of approval. A letter dated March 12, 2024 was received from the county in regards to a lawsuit and additional EA requirements, which posed some confusion and hesitancy on the developer. An approved approach permit was obtained June 5, 2024, but construction on the approach was postponed, waiting to understand the water issues and DNRC requirements in order to confidently move forward with the project. The landowner is also currently farming the property and would prefer not to build a road or install power in a project that may not have availability of water. A follow-up letter was dated September 12, 2024 from the county, further focused on the uncertainty on the EA and water issues surrounding water use in subdivisions. The developer decided to wait to see what actions would be taken with the legislature to clarify water use in subsequent minor subdivision. The landowner and the representative are still trying to decipher the water issue and would like to wait until January of 2026 with the release of DNRC's new intentions to appropriate paperwork. If the intention of water usage for the 3 lots is approved by DNRC, the landowner will have confidence in proceeding with the conditions of approval. And so following that is a list of the conditions of approval as they were proposed, as they were stated and put forth by the Broadwater County Commissioners on November 28, 2022, along with the status of meeting each of those conditions, which may or may not be necessary, for you to know moving forward. Essentially, this subdivision, being a subsequent minor subdivision, was required to complete an EA, and EA is an environmental assessment. So, with the January 14th, 2024 ruling, changed how all planners and commissioners reviewed EAs in Montana. Many of us were waiting to see what happened during this last legislative session, and subsequently not much is the unfortunate report I have back on that. So DNRC will be creating this notice of intent to appropriate process. Again, still not sure what that's going to look like, but that will be in January of 2026. So I think that this request is appropriate given this rather uncertainty. This is a 3-lot subsequent minor subdivision, so it's not a large development. It's large in acreage, but not large in the number of lots being created. In any case, commissioners, that's the request being put for you. I did verify this with our county attorney, and I apologize. I know one of you commissioners were with me when I had that discussion with our county attorney, Mr. Bratcher, to ensure that this request could come after the expiration date, because we're all very aware that November 28, 2022 was 3 years and 5 days ago. 5 days or 6 days ago. So the expiration has come and gone, but Mr. Bratcher, our county attorney, did state that MCA is very clear that it doesn't state, I shouldn't say it's very clear, but it does not state that it must be made before the expiration date. Yeah. So, and there is case law to back that up also. So anyway, all of that to say, if you have further questions on this, our county attorney would back that up.
Yeah. Thank you. I personally don't have any issue approving an extension for them. Everything you just said, I won't reiterate, but it is a burden. It's a burden to anyone developing, and we could argue all of it all day long in a nice rabbit hole, but it is what it is. So I personally don't have any issue approving an extension.
I think the request for extension is completely understandable and valid, so I don't have any issues with it.
Okay. Excuse me. Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the Meadows 3 subsequent minor subdivision request for a 1-year extension to preliminary plat approval.
It's going to be hard to say preliminary plat today.
Always is.
I will second that. There's been a motion and a second to approve the Meadows 3 subsequent minor subdivision request for a 1-year extension to preliminary plat approval. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Nicole.
Yes, thank you. Commissioners, I will draft a letter. We just have a standard letter that we send to developers. We don't have many extension requests, but we've done a few in the past. So I will have that letter ready for your signature this afternoon.
We're kind of sorting through uncharted waters. I think the whole state is right now. So, thank you. All right, you are still on first. We are going to discuss the Koblenz Family Transfer Exemption Request, Section 9, Township 8 North, Range 1 East.
Perfect. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a request for a family transfer for Mr. Koblenz. Get to my staff report here. Mr. Jonas Koblenz owns property on Galsagori Road, and he is requesting, and this tract, I'm sorry, is a 102.7 acre tract. Let me back up. Madam Chair, may I please paraphrase?
Yes.
Or summarize, rather, this staff report as opposed to reading it verbatim. This was posted online, as well as the certificate of survey and the landowner's affidavit. So,
yes, please.
All right, so Jonas Koblenz owns 102.7 acres off of Galsagori Road, which is a county road. He has worked with our county public works director to obtain an approach permit for that property. This reason for this family transfer request, according to Mr. Koblenz's affidavit, is for estate planning purposes. He's requesting to transfer 61.59 acres to his wife and retain ownership of 41.11 acres. So this will become 2 parcels. This is the 3rd exemption being proposed on this parcel. The first exemption was a retracement in 2014. The second exemption was a boundary relocation and aggregation done in 2015. Also important to note, in 2016, this parcel was submitted as a subdivision and subsequently granted final plat approval for 5 parcels. It was known as the Galsagori Tract 3 minor subdivision. So I believe each of you commissioners had asked this. When you go look online on Cadastro, which we know is not the record, it's not the official record, it is a convenience. It does still show this as 5 tracts. This is not 5 tracts. It is 1 tract. But that is why it shows as 5 tracts, because in 2016 this parcel was given final plat approval as the Galsagori Tract 3 minor subdivision. A lawsuit initiated by the adjacent land lessee was successful in revoking the final plat approval of this subdivision. So that's where the 5 parcels reverted back to 1 parcel. I'll also state for the record, this is in Section 9, Township 8 North, Range 1 East. The land is currently vacant and used for agricultural purposes. Land in all directions is agricultural. And since both parcels being proposed to be created would be greater than 20 acres in size, DEQ would not review these. They would be reviewed by our local sanitarian for the installation and location of well and septic systems. The public health and safety factor, on my staff report here, I included language that states since there's no review by the Townsend schools, there's no consideration for a school bus turnaround. So not certain where a school bus stop would be. When we go through the subdivision process, that is a consideration. Galsagori Road is off of Highway 287, and we are all very aware of the dangers. We've talked at length about the dangers on Highway 287. So I'm not certain if a school bus stop would be able to be created for this if necessary, or where one would be. So that was just a public health and safety concern that I had. And also because of the distance to the nearest emergency services, it could be hazardous. The nearest fire station would be the Winston Fire Station, and obviously the distance to the Broadwater Sheriff's Office is all the way to Townsend here. So Galzagori is just south of the town site of Winston, just for your location purposes.
Okay.
And yeah, Madam Chair, I think that's all I have as far as my summary.
Okay. I know I have questions. Commissioner Randolph, would you like to start with your
Yeah, I don't know.
your thoughts, questions?
We'll probably go back and forth.
Okay, that works.
This thing is all highlighted.
Same here. Same here.
Marked. So if I understand that correctly, I'm struggling today, guys. The transfer is going to be to tract F to his wife, and I've forgotten her name. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
Commissioner Randolph, that is correct. And I have also, it's on the affidavit, but
I hate just saying wife.
Nancy.
Nancy. Okay. So their plan then is to sell the original track at some point, the retained track.
Commissioner Randolph, yes, that is what was indicated to me, that they do intend to sell the second amended Tract 3, which would be the original retained ownership parcel. That's not an official name. That's a word made up by me to differentiate the two parcels. The gifted parcel will be Tract F, and Nancy will maintain ownership of that.
Which, in my talking to you and Kevin and looking through MCA, is allowable. Correct? Is that correct?
Commissioner Randolph, yes, that is correct. There's no time restriction to hold ownership of that parcel. The only restriction is on the gifted parcel. The gifted parcel must be owned by the recipient for 2 years unless there's a hardship.
I'll start there.
Okay, so this parcel has an interesting history. I think my questions for you on this earlier, because it's a unique situation. You have a few different people related that purchased a property. And when I was looking into the cadastral, I was like, why is it still showing the old one? How long ago was this purchase? And I think, do you know how long ago it was purchased?
Madam Chair, I don't think it was terribly long ago,
Okay.
because it was not that long ago that the two families were in my office at separate times having conversations.
Okay. So it was recently purchased, and then very shortly afterwards, one of the parties, one of the cousins, signed over their deed, right? Or was it the full party? Because is the ownership divided in 4 ways or just in 2 ways, but between couples?
Madam Chair, without having those deeds in front of me, I don't want to speak erroneously to that, but I know that there were at least two families, 2 married partners that had purchased the property, and then ownership was transferred to be solely in Jonas Koblenz's name.
Okay. I just found that unusual. You're purchasing a property with another party, related or not, and immediately you're transferring your deed, one party to the other, in that purchase. That was kind of my red flag in all this. And again, we have pretty limited say in family transfers to not approve them. I mean, it's in statute. Evasion is really blurry. So I don't want to say no to something unless I can absolutely have a reason and explain it to you and anyone else there why I'm saying no, and why I'm saying it's evasion. So I'm kind of trying to just explore the whole thing because I have not made my mind up on this one way or the other. That situation was kind of a red flag that seemed odd. Like if you're going to do that, you probably should buy the property, go through subdivision. However, based on the history of the property, subdivision was difficult. We all know what happened with the property. That said, you're doing a family transfer to people who already own, who put in money to buy the property. So it's like, that's a catch to me. It's like, is that a big deal? No, it kind of makes sense. We don't have any policy, and we've talked about this before in a couple different family transfers previously. We don't have any policy, and there is nothing in MCA on that retained parcel. There's nothing to guide us there. It's just wide open. So I'm kind of going back and forth. The situation seems very unique. I understand what they're doing. I get it. Everybody helped pay. Taking yourself off the deed a few weeks, and I'm saying a few weeks, not knowing the details of exact dates, after you purchase the property seems odd to me. The transfer itself to the wife, correct? And again, I don't like saying the wife, so I'm sorry. To Mr. Koblenz's wife. I mean, that's absolutely allowable. So, Commissioner Randolph, any other thoughts?
No, I think we have both covered all of my thoughts. I guess I will just add, it's not a question, but I certainly hope the next legislative session addresses family transfers in deep.
I mean, I like that we have a little leeway as local officials to kind of assess those and make some decisions. There's a little gray there, but it's also immensely frustrating because we don't have the guidelines, and you've got the state, putting it in MCA with what we can do. It's not like each county gets to make up their own guidelines completely. And that's going to get even more so soon. So,
let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think family transfers on some level, this is just my opinion, need to look at roads and schools. Those are the two big things that are being affected when these happen.
Mm-hmm.
And those numbers don't play into it at all.
Well, and I know water is a concern
Water.
as well. We know with, again, rabbit hole on water, exempt wells is, that's what would be, any property that's transferred, you're going to apply for, you're going to get the exempt well or apply for it, and you're going to have to find the water rights. Just because you can dig the well and use the well does not mean you will have water rights. So that's an issue in and of itself. Not for us. We cannot consider all of that in this decision. Is there a representative here from Koblenz, by any chance? No.
I'm a surveyor from Strawberry Survey.
Don't feel like you have to say anything then, Bernadette. You're fine. Anyway, I was just held up. I thought that was kind of an awkward history on the property. Is that enough for me to say it's evasion of subdivision? I don't know. Curious. Is there anyone here that would like to comment? Come on up, Chad.
I'm Chuck Hahn, and I have some major issues with this.
Okay.
And I will go through the documents that I got yesterday.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
Sorry
please.
to interject. Mr. Hahn, would you please say and you already said
Thank
spell
you.
your name? I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
for the record.
Thank
Angie
you.
is not here.
Chuck, C-H-U-C-K, Hahn, H-A-H-N.
Sorry, I meant
Sorry
to tell
to
you that. That's right. Thanks.
One of the major things that I've seen here, and I haven't been able to resolve even in the courthouse, is that I see no title to this land in the name of Koblenz. Supposedly the original purchase was done in August. There's nothing recorded in the land books. There was a quitclaim deed that was done in October, end of October. Nothing related to that in the documents. And that's one of the major things that you have to address before you can even consider this. But there are a number of other things that found too in looking through the documents. It says there's no other existing, and this is, I think, comes from what you wrote, Nicole. No other existing developments or uses. This property has a long history of land transfers. Started back in about 2009. The land went from Murfitt to Ronald and Denise O'Bray, and then it was split into its 640 acre parcel, full section. Shortly afterwards, it was split into 460 acre parcels that were then owned by the O'Brays. And then later it was split into 2 parcels of roughly 220 acres and 2 parcels of 102 acres. And then it was attempted to be split into 5 more parcels on each of the 100 acre parcel tracts. So it has a long history of being attempted to be subdivided in one way or another. So I think that should come into play in your decision. And on the last statement that you made, Nicole, it says, according to the boundary relocation survey presented, the property is not encumbered by any easements, but it is encumbered by irrigation easements, and that was came up in the court case which overturned the 5 lots in this tract 3. And I do have a survey document that shows those, that was recorded in 2016. And those were problematic in the first court case that was done. There are also agreements and stipulations that were done between the Galzagori family and Greg Schob, who was the owner of the property during the court case, and also between Rudy Silva, who is the owner of the adjoining 100 acre tract, and those also are on file. But they are stipulations as to the irrigation easements and to access, and I have copies of those too. When you go through the filing that Mr. Koblenz did, on page 3, there's a question at C3, and it says, has the subdivision application for this parcel been previously withdrawn or denied? He indicated no, which is incorrect because there has been.
Do you mean on the staff report or on the application?
Yeah.
Okay. You said C3?
And just above there, he lists what retracements and different things that were done.
Okay.
But it leaves out quite a bit of the history of the property. And on page 2, under required documents, draft certificate survey this has to be included, which there is, but it does not include easements for the irrigation. Evidence of entitlement to the claimed exemptions as recorded deeds, contracts, restrictions, etc. There's no recorded deeds. Has anybody found any recorded deeds at this point? Nicole, do you know?
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, may I respond? Okay. Sorry, Mr. Khan, all questions have to be directed to the chair.
Sorry.
No, I did not look at the deed to see if it was recorded.
Okay. Documentation in support of sanitation exemption. So I'm assuming, Madam Chair, that then that would happen after they receive the family transfer exemption, or does that need to happen before?
Say that again, Chuck. I'm sorry. Where were you at?
It would be under number 2 on page 2, and it's the 3rd bullet point there.
Documentation.
Well, yeah, 3rd bullet point, documentation in support of sanitation exemption, if applicable. When does that happen?
And when does sanitation exemption happen?
Madam Chair, may I respond?
Yeah, please.
So that actually happens at the time that they want to apply, that any landowner wants to apply for their septic permit. Since this is not a subdivision application, it would be treated as any other parcel greater than 20 acres, where the sanitarian would go out and do a site evaluation to determine the location. So it would happen essentially closer to the time of construction, but mostly at the time of installation or request of installation of the septic system. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, continuing on. Don't have any questions off page 4. On page 5, under 5G, what's the history of this parcel? And it says CCI, which I'm assuming must be actually that would be C2, I would think. Okay. How long have you owned an interest in that parcel? Since August 25. Was another family member's name previously on this deed to this parcel? And he says yes. If so, when was that family member's name removed? October of 2025. And that's is where it says there should be a quitclaim deed. And the claimant at J on page 5, or 5J.
Chuck, may I interrupt you really quick? Nicole, would we have a copy of the quitclaim deed if that is for that number 2 there? How was the parcel of land transferred from one family member to another? Do we usually get the copy of the quitclaim deed for this?
Madam Chair, no.
But we do, okay. But we could request it, possibly?
Yes, you could.
Okay.
Shouldn't it, excuse me, Madam Chairman, shouldn't that be something that's already recorded, though?
You would think it would be already recorded, but it's typically, they don't have it with this application. But we can look into that for sure.
At J, it asks if the claimant has contacted Broadwater County Treasurer for certification that all taxes have been paid. He indicates a no there. So that indicates to me that that hasn't been done.
No, are all taxes and special assessments paid? Yes.
So it shows that the current taxes have been paid, but not that they checked back for back taxes.
Yeah, they've kind of said 2 things there. So I'm making a list as we're talking about this of things I'd like to look into, but Nicole will have to talk about that more too.
So then we move on to page 6. We're still following with 5 from the former page. At K, has the claimant contacted Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder to check the status of liens on the property? Indicates no. Are there any liens on the property? No. So how does he know whether there are liens on the property or not?
That's a good point. But I'm assuming he's saying no, he knows that there's no liens on the property, so therefore he didn't check. That would be the assumption. But again, a fair question.
Okay.
Yeah.
At N, the question asked is, have you or a recent owner previously expressed an interest in subdividing the parcel? He indicates a no, but that should be a yes, because the previous owner is Greg Schob, and Schob has a long history of trying to subdivide the property. And backing up just a little bit, that 102-acre parcel of property would have been a subdivision, I assume, because it was less than 106 or 160 acres. So it's actually, you're looking at a family exemption inside of a subdivision. I don't know how that all plays out, but that would be a question too.
Okay.
And because it is inside of a subdivision parcel there, that answer should have been a yes rather than a no.
These are all good points, and there was kind of some of the history with the transfers and the deed changes was something I had kind of flagged, which was an issue. So obviously you noticed it as well. Thank you for bringing that up. We can, well, I can just ask you, is there anything else you'd like to point out?
That is the major thing. I would just like to encourage the commission to not approve at this time, to dig deeper before you get to that point.
Okay.
Like I said, I have the documents to back up what I've testified to here. So.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank you.
Chuck. Appreciate it. Does anybody else have any comment?
Madam Chair, can I make
Yes.
some responses?
Please.
To those? So I just want to be very, very clear that the land book is not the official record. It's a convenience. The official record is DocuPro, and that is updated daily by clerk and recorder staff. So the land book is mostly for convenience. So just because it's not listed in the land book doesn't mean that it's not official. The irrigation easements, they are not shown on the COS. So if indeed there are irrigation easements, as you alluded to, they should be shown on the COS. Also, any access easements, they are also not shown on this COS. So that's why they were not included in my staff report, because my report is based on this. As far as the statement, I was just making notes as you were going through this application. The subdivision, you had a question, or you'd stated that there was something on here about a subdivision being denied. Has a subdivision ever been denied for this property? And actually, a subdivision was not denied for this property. It was revoked. So a subdivision was, that is an accurate statement by the landowner that no, a subdivision was not denied for this property. Your question on taxes, if taxes have been, if you've checked with the county treasurer for taxes, that's always done right before recording, just because we have this 6-month period of taxes. Oftentimes, this may take a little bit for the surveyor to record that, so we don't actually check taxes. And when I say we, I mean staff. I don't check taxes until I walk it over to the clerk and recorder's office to record that document, and at that time then we check taxes with the treasurer to make sure we are up to the absolute minute. So taxes will absolutely be paid. Mr. Shobe did not subdivide the property. Mr. and Mrs. O'Bray subdivided the property, so Mr. Shobe did not subdivide. And this is not a family transfer in a subdivision because the subdivision was revoked. There is no subdivision.
But isn't
Please.
Oh, come on, back up, Chuck. Sorry. You get exercise today.
isn't the 102-acre tract a subdivision?
Madam Chair, may I respond?
Or,
To my
Madam
knowledge,
Chair.
this is never, when it was a subdivision and when it was the Galzagori Tract 3, it was the first minor subdivision, and then with that subdivision being revoked, it is now no longer a subdivision. It is not subdivided land. Exemptions were used to create that 102-acre parcel through boundary relocations and what was the other exemption? A retracement.
And if I may add, I think to clarify too, we can look at that, but because it was different owners, we can't really, we have it as knowledge in the application, but we can't make our decision based on what previous owners did to the land, correct? Am I saying that right?
Madam Chair, there's nothing in MCA that would prohibit you from considering this family transfer based on any past uses or past ownership uses of exemptions. So even if it were the same owner, you can family transferred property. You can family transfer subdivided property. You can family transfer property that's had a boundary location. There's no limit at MCA to the amount of exemptions on a property. You just consider it in your evasion criteria if there's a pattern of development.
Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome.
And of course, it's another nice gray area for us to look at. But I guess I'm just to explain everything we look at. We're saying, okay, if we deny this and someone takes us to court over it, right? They can, you can go to court over anything. But if we deny it, we better be able to say very clearly why we denied it with as much certainty as we can bring.
Then why is that question a part of the questionnaire?
Well, with the new affidavit that's coming too from the state, from the AG, it's part of the questionnaire. But wouldn't it be nice if they told us you can use this criteria specifically to say there's evasion, but they give no guidance, they being, again, the state or the Attorney General's office. But Nicole, would you like to add more to that?
No, ma'am. Other than you're absolutely correct.
Well, then I will rely on the fact that there's no easement showing in the plat for you to be able to say that at this point you should table this. Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck. Did you have any, you made your comment on the easement. Commissioner Randolph, did you have anything you wanted to say on
I
that?
appreciate your comments. They signed this, it's notarized, exactly what you read, so I'm not making excuses, but we take this word as, it's notarized, they're telling us the truth, and I'm not saying they're lying either. Please don't take that. But perhaps more research needs to be completed, because we wouldn't have known a couple of these things if you hadn't brought it up.
Okay.
So thank you.
We're supposed to make a decision on this today, correct?
Madam Chair, that is correct, that your deadline for action is December 8th, and so that does not leave you any time.
Can we request an extension or ask if they are agreeable to an extension for us to consider this? And I'm looking at that from the standpoint of I would hope they would allow us to to do more research, take a little more time on it, rather than just say no or table.
Madam Chair,
without
yes,
reason.
you absolutely can request an extension of time, and with the consideration of these irrigation and access easements not being shown on the plat, it may be necessary to prove that they either do not exist or they do exist, right? I mean,
Right.
we can't.
That concerns me.
Yeah,
Yes,
you can't say
correct.
one way or the other sitting here in this meeting, but proof needs to be presented that either those access and irrigation easements
Yeah.
are not recorded, or yes, they are recorded and need to be on this plat or this certificate of survey, in which case, obviously, you can't make a decision because you don't have the complete record.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I would like to request that. I suppose if they said no to that request, we don't have a decision for them. And I hate to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't like to leave things hanging. But I think we need a little more time. So I would appreciate an extension if they would agree to it, and which would put it on the December 17th agenda. Because the commissioners are gone next week, so there's no meeting.
So, Madam Chair, can I just ask a follow-up?
Yes.
So you're asking me to reach out to the landowners to request an extension of 2 weeks? Is
Yes,
that-
please.
Okay.
Yep.
And to have evidence one way or the other regarding the irrigation and access easements, because I think that that's prudent.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we can do our own due diligence
Yeah.
for some of the other items. If something comes up that we would like to see from them or regarding that, more questions, we'll relay that through you to them.
And I believe December 17th is going to be an afternoon meeting.
Correct.
correct?
Thank you. Yes, 12:30.
12:30 start.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Chuck, thank you for coming and for your information. And I think, Nicole, if a representative from the Koblenz family would like to be here, that would be helpful as well.
Yeah, I know that they were
They
planning
were
on
planning on
being here.
Okay,
But
I don't know.
okay. If they're able, that would be helpful. I know it's hard around Christmas time and holiday stuff. Okay. So December 17th for that, if they agree. All right. And you are still in the hot seat, Nicole. We are going to move on to the Nunn-Hatfield Boundary Relocation Exemption Request for Section 2, Township 7 North, Range 1 East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, I have a staff report, a certificate of survey, and an affidavit. These documents have been posted online. So if I may just give a summary of the staff report. And I see Mr. Hatfield is here representing the family. So if you have questions of him directly at the close of my presentation, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer them.
Sure.
Okay. So this is a boundary relocation request between the Nunn and Hatfield families. They are adjacent property owners. The access easement to amended Tract A1, which is owned by the Hatfields, crosses the amended Tract B. I'm referencing your certificate of survey, which is owned by the Nunns. And so the boundary relocation essentially would be to capture that access fully onto the Hatfields' property. This would still allow the Nunns access to their property. It just, as you can see where that driveway easement comes in to access their home, it would just be fully encumbered on their property and not the Nunns' property. So no change in the use of the property being proposed still for residential uses. They both have homes, septics, wells, DEQ approval on both parcels. None of that will be changing. It's simply placing that easement fully onto Tract A1. So really no concerns on this. Again, no change in use, no public health and safety concerns, and no structures are being transferred through this boundary relocation.
Thank you. I did not have any questions. It seemed really straightforward to me. Commissioner Randolph?
I agree completely.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the Nunn-Hatfield boundary relocation exemption request.
I will second that.
Coffee.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the Nunn-Hatfield boundary relocation exemption request. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thanks for
you,
coming. All right. Moving on. Welcome back, Commissioner Swenson. Right. Nicole Brown, still in the hot seat. We're going to discuss the Broadwater County subdivision regulations amendments.
And everybody left. This is the fun
I know, this is where it gets fun. Why is
I'm just
everyone
kidding.
leaving?
Sorry, I looked at you when I said it. I matter.
Ed likes us. He wants to
Yes.
stay and hang out.
Commissioners, this is a continuation of our meeting from last Monday, where I presented the proposed amendments to the Broadwater County subdivision regulations to you. We walked through those amendments. There were some notes that I took. There were no motions made by the commission, so I have no updated edits because you did not make motions. And I know you know this. I'm just making it very clear for the public's consideration as well. These were simply notes that and some points that the commission had pointed out at the last meeting. So there's been no change to these proposed amendments to date. I'd also like to request that the commissioners not make any final motion on these amendments until after the first of the year, and that being because, as we spoke about earlier, the DNRC Notice of Intent to Appropriate document. Likely I will have some slight edits to make to the subdivision regulations to include that, because as it's set to become law in January of 2026, it will need to be a requirement that I will have to consider for an application to be element complete. And currently it's not in each of we have 3 lists in our subdivision regulations for element completeness, and it's not on any one of those 3 lists on purpose. Even though I know it's coming, I really would like to use the same language that DNRC is going to be using. So all of that to say, this will not be the final amendment, but which is why I would like to postpone, not this meeting necessarily, but any final adoption of the subdivision regulations by the commissioners until I can make that amendment. So that's not to say you can't move forward on this set of documents in front of you, so that when January comes, we only have one edit to
Sure,
make.
okay. Without having to have another public hearing.
Correct. Which we certainly could. You
Right.
can hold more public hearings.
Did we, I mean, I have in my notes what we talked about last week, but do you have a comprehensive list of what we discussed? You do, okay.
Do you want me to go through this?
Let's just start at the beginning with those and
Absolutely.
go through
Okay.
it.
On page 1, under legal access, there was some discussion on how to maybe word this a little better. So to say, when the subdivision abuts a public street or road under the jurisdiction of the city, the county, or the state, or when the subdivider has obtained documented public easements. So inserting that word public, because as Commissioner Swenson said, you know, we were speaking about this, you can have documented easements and they can be private. So we need to be very, very clear what we're asking subdividers for. We're asking for documented public easements. So inserting that word public. The next amendment, let's see, was regarding ADUs. And my note on here stated to use language from the new law regarding the ADUs, because there is some discussion on, there was discussion, excuse me, on the ADU being of a lesser square footage than the main dwelling. And HB, I mess this up every time.
I know.
Regarding ADUs, I don't remember what one it is, which does not apply to us. We've recognized it does not apply
Right.
to us.
Right.
But there's specific language in there that's also iterated in municipal code regarding ADUs. And so it would be beneficial if we just continued that same language. So, Madam Chair, I did not actually write that language down because I didn't go and pull that.
I think
but-
it's pretty close to what you have, except it just states the size. That
Correct.
has to be lesser size than the primary dwelling,
primary dwelling.
I believe. Don't quote me on that, though. That's the general gist.
Let's see. My next noted amendment, or suggested amendment from our discussion last week, was on page 23. Item number 17, to say assigned and approved fire plan. Because the intent of that really was to ensure that the fire plan is signed and approved prior to submitting an application for preliminary plat. Not just a fire plan. So this will be similar to what's required for the noxious weed management plan. The next written proposed amendment or potential amendment was on page 81 under fire protection. And the very last portion of that yellow highlighted section to say sufficient volume for effective fire control for subsequent minors and majors. So currently it states for majors only. But if you follow the path of a subsequent minor, they follow the same path as a major subdivision. So a developer or a subdivider would still be required to go through this. We're just not stating it, so that just makes it very clear. So fire control for subsequent minors and majors, or majors and subsequent minors, whichever order to put those in.
And I don't believe anyone had any issue with the removal of the language from 5R on page 81, right? We all agreed that well, we didn't agree. We didn't make any decisions, but no one had any issues with it or brought up any issues.
I have no notes on that.
Okay.
Correct. My next set of notes are on supplement 7, which is identified as page 21. This is page 21 of the supplements. I had a note in here to ask MACO if there's a way to say within X number of miles and not the entire aquifer, because that could be challenging. And I have to admit, I did not do that. I apologize with the holiday last week and being out of the office, and I did not do that. But I will ask that question today. And the reason we're asking MACO these are MACO best practice tips that we are looking to adopt. So this is actually language coming from MACO.
And which is immensely helpful and important. However, we do have the ability to say we want that to be different, I believe, right? Yeah, without.
Yeah, you absolutely, Madam Chair, you do have the ability to amend that, even if MACO comes back to say no. There is no way to do that. You absolutely have the latitude because this is not written into MCA. These are MACO
Okay.
best practice tips.
Thank you.
And I believe that is all I have. Yes, it is all I have in my notes from our meeting last Monday.
And then you would like to, I mean, we could vote on these ones, or we could wait and just keep our list, see what else comes up, wait till after the first of the year because of the changes that are coming, and then include those changes. I don't, what do you guys think about that? Do we need to do a second hearing? Would that be better? What does everyone feel good about doing?
I don't know if it's necessary to do a second hearing. I would like, and I don't know how to do this necessarily, but like tentatively, or like not but like approve these so that we can get an updated regs to look at before we formally approve the actual regulations. Is that possible to do it in
Oh, you
steps
mean-
like that way?
You mean like a updated document with
Yeah.
approvals? What were you gonna say, Deb?
Yeah, I'm with you, but I'm wondering if, thinking on the spot here, instead of us, I think you understand our intentions.
Mhm.
If you put those into these documents, printed, and then we
Yeah.
approve them.
However we need to, I
You
just
know
know
what I mean?
last
You're
time.
saying you think we should do that? Put them into the document, then approve them, or
Just-
approve them first and then get
Put them into the document, make sure they're exactly right, and then approve them.
perfect? Okay.
That's,
I would agree.
You know,
That's-
put
yeah.
the changes in blue or yellow or something, so we can see.
And that was fine. I just know, remember last time
Right.
you had said that you didn't want to put them in until we had approved.
Right.
So I don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Right.
However we need to.
With
do
that,
it.
just to clarify as well, do we want, when Nicole takes time to put these into an updated document for us to review in its entirety, do we want to take out what was recommended taking out, like have that all out, since we haven't had any issues with any of those sections?
I can go either way with that one. I mean, I'm fine leaving, it doesn't hurt anything to leave them in there just so if somebody new looks at the document
Okay.
online, just to see that we're taking all of that out. But
Or do we need to approve that it's removed?
That's what I was thinking, exactly.
We
Sorry,
probably
rabbit
need
hole.
to- We need to
Yeah.
approve that it's removed.
Madam
Mhm.
Chair, Commissioners, that honestly would be my preference, for no other reason than to ensure that I'm following the proper process. So for you to make a motion to approve these amendments as captured,
As suggested,
suggested edits,
proposed, yeah.
and I can certainly make those edits and keep them in blue for your document, you know, for you to
Right, right,
insert
right.
into your subdivision regulations or print new copies,
Right,
whichever
right,
way
right.
we go. But I think a motion would be more appropriate, so we know how this goes in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and say, well, why did staff make that amendment? There was no,
right.
there was commission discussion, but there was no motion to amend. Does that make sense how I'm wording that?
We can do a
Well-
motion to amend, approve the proposed amendments, including additions, and we can specify those if we need to, on which pages, and what is being removed. I mean, I think that would be a fair motion to make.
And maybe not, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over
Sorry.
you, Madam Chair, and to not approve the amended subdivision regulations,
In-
right? Because
in
it's
its
kind of a
entirety,
two-part.
yes.
You're approving the
Yes.
amendments, and then you're going to approve the document. Just don't approve the document,
Right.
please.
Right, we're not
We're
going
gonna
to
wait on
approve
that
the
one.
full document in its entirety until we can incorporate the updates in MCA from the state.
So if somebody wants the regs, right now, before we approve the document, they're gonna get
They're going to
This.
get this.
The document, the
this-
original
without
document.
the amendments.
Correct.
Correct.
I
Because
This
just
is
want
a-
to be clear. I
Yeah, it's like a
Yes.
working document as of right now, or the section of the amendments is a working document.
And then at that time, if we see anything that needs to be corrected, we can
Correct.
move to change that.
Correct.
if you made a typo. And I know you would not do that, but if it happens, the wrong word. Okay.
If you made a typo. Don't make a typo.
Yeah.
I think that would suffice. So I think we could do a motion, again, that accepts the proposed amendments this far to include what is being proposed to be eliminated and the additions on, and we could just list the pages, if that sounds good. Or do we need more specifics? I think we can just list page numbers.
I think if you do page numbers, unless any of you
I agree.
Okay.
disagree with any of my captured suggested edits from the last meeting.
I had two more things I wanted to
Ooh,
bring
okay.
up.
What you got?
So on page 28 of the subdivision regs, kind of starts on 27. So it's amending approved preliminary plats before the final plat approval. And it's subsection 2. Starting on page 20, it says, if the subdivision administrator determines that the changes are material, the subdivision administrator may either require a public hearing with the applicable body for major subdivisions or a meeting with the governing body for the first minor subdivisions. And I was talking with Nicole after our meeting last week about this, and we were trying to figure out applicable body for major subdivisions. And we both kind of came to the conclusion that the applicable body would be the governing body. So just to be clear on who that is, just changing applicable to governing.
So that's page 28.
That's on page 28.
Changing applicable to governing.
Just to clear up any
Yeah.
confusion. And then on page 34, it's the same sentence for amending a final plat.
I'm sorry, what page?
34. And it's under it's after the list of 1 through 7, the second paragraph after it says, if the subdivision administrator determines.
Is that where
Do I
I'm
have D? Yeah, D. I was
Okay.
covered up
D
by my
covered up?
sticky
Okay,
note.
No, I just
I was like,
want to
this doesn't even label it.
Yeah.
Yeah, D. So it's the exact same sentence. So again, just changing applicable to governing.
Section D. Okay.
Because we're trying to go through the process of like how this would work, but at the point that the planning board submits it to the commission, then it's our document until we submit it back, if we ever needed to. So that's where we were kind of going back and forth of whether it was, we were trying to figure that out, which way, because it was just kind of a weird sentence. It kind of caught me off guard. And so when after talking about it, we kind of both, and not to put words in your mouth, Nicole, but
Yeah, no, it makes
No, it's
sense.
very true.
It makes sense. It's crazy how these little words matter, honestly. Okay, I'm just writing this note down for this motion.
and again, those were pages 34 on section D and page 28 on subsection, or section A2.
Okay. Okay. Is there any other comment on this? We can probably make that motion today. Again, it will be to approve the proposed changes thus far, with the intent to discuss approving the entire document after the first of the year, once we have the updated changes from MCA and state. Yeah. Is there anything else from either of you? Okay. Would someone like to take a stab at that motion? No pressure.
You can do it.
I'm just writing
Oh,
everything down.
fine.
She always forgets.
That's right, I can.
Don't put it on us.
Yeah. Let's see.
Do we want to include the things we're going to delete?
I was thinking that too, but we don't, I have, let's see, specifically.
If Chair or Commissioners, as a suggestion, you
Oh,
can
yeah.
I was just going to say, can we just, I'm trying to simplify this, otherwise this is, one motion is going to take
and
half
add
an hour.
page 28 and page 34. You did.
On page 28, I mean, I think you could say amendment, approve
On these
amendments,
pages as stated.
you know,
I don't think we need
thus
to go
far.
word for word.
right. Yeah, as stated on these pages.
We have another
Perfect.
opportunity if there's something incomplete.
Agreed.
So I would move to make the changes that,
Well, you take it easy.
I'll move to make the changes that are listed as stated on the page, including the pages 28 and 34 in addition.
I would go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah.
I don't have that, so if you want me to.
Oh, here.
Here you go.
I was just,
Look at us.
let's be.
There we go.
Just for more.
Just for fun, let's be more
So
specific.
pages 1,
Yeah.
17, 22, 23, 81, are we doing the supplementals? No.
Yep, yep, we're approving.
81, 82, 83, and 84, and these are out of order, and 24 and 34.
And the supplement.
Well, there's nothing to approve on the supplement until we hear back from Mako.
Oh, yeah, true. Okay,
think we're fine.
good.
So I think
I'll
stick
second
to
the
the,
Okay,
I will second that motion.
took the safe one and seconded it. Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve amendments, proposed amendments to the subdivision regulations thus far. On pages 1, 17, 22, 23, 24, is it 32?
28,
Sorry, 28, not 24, 32,
34.
34, 34, 81, 82, 83, and 84. Is there any public comment?
good luck, Angie.
Any public comment? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I can't imagine why anyone would think government is confusing or overcomplicating things. All right.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you very much. It was a long, long day for you.
You as well. Thank you. And thank you for letting me use the table. It made it a little easier to
Yeah.
spread everything out.
I think I'm going to write that down for Angie to help her out. That'll be a hard thing to hear.
I
She
can
just
give her
texted
that
me.
page.
Oh, she
Yeah,
did.
give her that page.
Okay. What's that?
I can just give her that cover page.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
If you think it would be easy.
I think that's fine. Yeah, that'll help her out.
Cover page and add those other two.
Okay, Eric and Bill Jiraki, you guys have been patiently waiting. We knew this was going to take a little longer than we thought, so thank you for hanging in there. Next up is the discussion decision use of tax increment financing, or TIF, funds for the community MT planning grant match. And this is for the Wheatland Targeted Economic Development District, also known as the TED.
Oh, yeah.
Can you guys hear us okay?
No.
Oh, we can't hear you guys, though. Hold on. Stand by.
Try again. No.
Technology.
Is there volume on the TV? Or no?
It was working before the meeting.
Well,
We might have
Kind of,
to
halfway.
have them call in if it's not going to work. We just have them call in here.
can you hear me?
Oh, now I can hear them.
But you're just on the computer, not, now talk.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Now try.
Can you talk now?
You must be talking, please. Yeah.
What did that say?
Hey, Eric, what were you doing? What were you doing? Just everything I'm not getting done, right?
Shoot. What's the call-in?
How's the weather over your way? You guys have any snow or anything?
You guys are recorded, just reminding you.
Had a little snow and day,
There it is.
and now it's just ice.
There we go.
Okay, now we can hear you.
Meaning that rain, snow, slush.
They can't hear us now.
So it's
Can you guys hear us?
the traffic issue that,
Can you guys-
Lucy was talking about.
Can you guys- Hello?
Could be, yeah.
Hey guys, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Technical issues.
Fixed it.
All right. All right, so we're going to discuss this tax increment financing, use of tax increment financing for the planning grant match through Community MT, and this is specifically in regard to the Wheatland TED and its relevance to the TED. Let's see, Eric, do you want to lead off and tell us a little bit about the grant?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Chair Commissioners Eric Seidensticker, SEIDENSTICKER. I'm with Montana Business Assistance Connection. MBAC is your economic development org that also serves Lewis and Clark and Mark counties. Yeah, just a little bit of backdrop really quick. MBAC has worked closely with the county to form the Wheatland Targeted Economic Development District, or TED for short, in 2019. Since that time, our business attraction team has worked on trying to attract manufacturers development inside of the TED. I'm confident we're going to see some of the construction commence in 2026 that we've talked about with the commission in recent months with projects. A little thing I also wanted to point out, in addition to our business attraction efforts, our community development team from MBAC has worked really closely with the county to secure resources and funding from the Montana Department of Commerce in the past, specifically for an update to the county's growth policy and a preliminary engineering report, PER for short, for the southern portion of the county and the TED. Part of this I want to point out is that the PER highlighted several major water factors for the southern portion of the county and the TED. For example, we know the rapid housing developments and the commercial growth happening in and around the 287 I-90 corridor. One of the overall common denominators from the PER was the need or the opportunity to build out a centralized water supply system in the TED and the surrounding area. Kind of doing some more reading from the PER, it listed several action items and next steps, but 4 of these that I think that are pertinent to this project would be: 1, a phased approach to building a public water supply within the TED, the creation of a water and sewer district. I'd like to add that we know that there is a district down there, but some of the structure of it I think needs to be reviewed. Ideally, there would be a long-term owner and operator that would be like the water and sewer district for a potential water supply system. Another deliverable would be the coordination and partnership and development with the Headwaters Utility Association. As you know, the HUA provides sewer capacity and non-potable water inside of the TED right now. Not all of the businesses are hooked up to that, but obviously Bridger Brewing and there's connection points available for other tenants that could come into the park. And then lastly, explore the feasibility of accessing some of the permitted water sources that we know that are inside of the TED. Again, going back to Bridger Brewing, we've discussed some of the water that they have available, and that kind of fits in line with that partnership. Very roughly, these 4 items that I mentioned would kind of define the scope of work for this planning grant, but if we are successful, I think MBAC, the county, the HUA, and some of the private reps inside of the district would kind of help redefine and select a qualified consultant through some type of a procurement bid process to work on that. I'll just close with kind of saying that this is an important project to determining the future and the viability of the TED and the tax increment financing provision. I believe the future of the district and the TIF provision should be revisited after this project has been concluded, and I'm hopeful that a pathway forward in partnership with the various entities will be identified to kind of look at the water and wastewater for the district moving forward. So with with that, MVAC is requesting $16,666 from the county's TIF budget. The funding will be used as match to a request from the Department of Commerce in the amount of $33,334, and I'm happy to answer any questions from the commission or the public.
Wow, that was really good. That was like the best comprehensive summary. I mean, that was really, really good. Thank you.
It's like you rehearsed it.
I mean, almost. No, that was great.
Maybe before you have questions, if I can comment, Chairman.
Yes, please. I was going to say you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm Bill Cherocki, J-A-R-O-C-K-I. I'm the County Administrative Officer. This project will help answer some questions that we've had over the last couple of years where there's uncertainty as to the water and sewer capabilities, clear capabilities stated, as well as what the needs might be for the potential landowners in the Wheatland TED. This is a legitimate expense of a tax increment financing district. We do have the resources to meet this match requirement. I think anytime we can put a small amount of money up and an agency like the Department of Commerce can help us out, especially to answer these questions, it's a win-win for everybody, and will set the stage for our success going forward. It would require us to have a budget amendment at some point, but we knew that would happen during this fiscal year anyway. So I can also stand the questions, but I think this would be an excellent investment, and the sooner we can get it done, the better. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going back to look. I want to reiterate too with the request for the money coming from the TIF. This is something that's acceptable through MCA. This is a cost that is allowed. Obviously, more than a third of this, really the whole thing involves the TED in one aspect or another, and so it definitely qualifies as something we can use those current TIF funds for. And Bill, and if you said it already, I'm sorry. Did you have the balance in the TIF right now, which is tax increment financing for anyone listening? Yes.
Madam Chairman, members of the Commission, the balance as of yesterday was a shade over $160,000. We have not received the first half of tax revenues from the recent levy. So it's the TED fund is in excellent condition.
Okay. And just to, if there's anyone paying attention or listening, just to revisit that, the TIF is the mechanism, the financing mechanism used to support development in the TED. The TED is more of and I hate to say zoned, but it is kind of a zoned area that's saying in this area we are going to build industry and commercial, and we're more specific in the plan for that. But the TIF is a special financing mechanism that is used. So at this point, again, we have just over $160,000, with more expected as taxes are paid for this first half of the year. I personally think this is a great use of funds. We have had a lot of questions on water. Once again, water coming back up, water rights, water use, wells, how we can really have a thriving public water and wastewater system through that district, possibly expand from there, what we can do, what we need to do. So there's a lot of questions that we've discussed at various times, and I think this will give us really good direction. Would you, anyone else, like to weigh in, please?
Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
Please.
I know I'm not a commission, so I don't know if this is appropriate for staff to ask questions. Can you, I know you said this, Eric, and I'm sorry, you gave such an eloquent description of this, and I was trying to take notes, but what is the What is that grant money going to be used for? Can you tell me specifically what it's going to be used for?
Yeah, Madam Chair,
Please.
Nicole. So basically, I think this would be very much to bring further outside expertise to help review a few components. I believe one would be kind of the structure of the various entities right now that we know with the existing water and sewer district, and to help kind of, I believe, lay out pathways with the Headwaters Utility Association in terms of, you know, they provide one utility right now, and then there's also the private component with, like, you know, Bridger Brewing owning their own wells and operating. And really, I think that entity that would be tasked with doing that would help essentially lay out hopefully a framework and a roadmap that would fit within the remaining life of the TED itself, or with the TIF right now, along with trying to provide recommendations on what exactly needs to be tweaked and modified within that water and sewer district to kind of further carry out, you know, these opportunities of building a central water supply and owning it. I think as we've discussed over the past 5 or 6 years, there's been, you know, various entities formed, and I think all of it was with good intention, but I think at this point it's just very convoluted. So I know whether that's through some of our great engineering firms or, you know, working with the county's attorney, Dorsey Whitney, with the TED right now, it kind of would be a bifurcated consulting mix to work on that component. I think the secondary component would involve like further engineering to kind of basically design out that first phase of a public water supply system within the TED specifically. When I reviewed the PER again, all 800 pages of it, it really specifically points to phase development of a public water supply through the TED and also for the surrounding area. I think that looking at the TED first and foremost is probably one of the most important pieces, along with potentially boiling in some of the other finite deliverables from the PER that talks about, you know, the residential components that are outside to the west and to the north and things of that nature. But to your question, I think it's going to be a bifurcated consulting group of engineering and probably experts in water, sewer, along with working with the county's attorney that handles the tax increment financing subjects.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Eric.
I have an
Go.
additional comment to the Madam Chairman, members of the Commission, Nicole. One of the things we need to understand about water and sewer in that targeted economic development district is what is the viability of the existing utilities. The existing utilities financial viability is essential for us to understand what that is, because we're trying to attract those businesses to those properties that are owned and could be sold to them. There's an expectation for water and wastewater for those businesses to thrive. We want to be able to have a long-range view of what the financial viability is, so those businesses will be sustainable, not only established, but sustainable over time. Should the county have a role in this, whether it's through the water sewer district or some other mechanism, it's important for us to understand what the potential is for us to have to jump into it. And I think that's what the study would help us understand.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Bill.
Thank you both.
Debbie, Jesse, is there anything you guys would like to add?
I don't have anything. You did a great job of explaining it. I really appreciate you being here to help, because you said it a lot better than we could.
Yeah, you did a fantastic summary, Eric. Thank you.
I have a couple just logistics questions. When is the grant due?
Madam Chair, Commissioner, 11:59 on Sunday evening, but I fully have intention of getting that done by COB on Friday. But yeah, it's coming up. But very, very simple process that, I mean, everybody at MBAC is accustomed to working with. So.
And we are very happy for that. When will the grant be announced? The winners or? Yeah.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Commissioner, great question. I do not know the answer to that right now. I I would just say tentatively, probably early 2026.
Okay.
I did, just to dovetail onto that, I did have a meeting, or a quick phone call with the division administrator over the program, and just high level ran the project by that individual, and with no commitment. She was very excited to hear about the project and encouraged us to apply. So there's that. But yeah, I expect in the new year we should probably be here.
Okay. First quarter at least.
Yeah.
Kind of. And then you talked about engineers and people doing this, the grant. Do we select those, or is there a set engineering company that this grant would work with?
So, Madam Chair, Commissioner, I am actually applying as MBAC, as the actual applicant and kind of administrator of the project. And the reason I did that is that I think it kind of meshes well with the MOU that we recently executed with the county. It kind of talks about, the roles that MBAC would have. I would say that the scope will need to be a little bit more further fleshed out, but I'm envisioning that we will do some sort of a competitive bid for an engineering firm, very similar to how the county would go about hiring, their own consultants or things of that nature. We do that a lot at MBAC and kind of follow a very similar procurement process. I believe the thing we do need to visit further about those, I really would like to try to lean on the expertise of Courtney from Dorsey Whitney, because she is already doing some of these activities or things that are related to this. So I don't want to duplicate what she's doing. I want to try to drive down further what she is doing. But in the short of it, we'll go out for a bid, and again, it'll have some bifurcated level of engineering along with technical expertise with special districts, so to speak.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Those were my questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you for asking those. Is there anything else?
I don't have anything.
Nicole, did you have anything?
No, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. There is so much to discuss and consider with the TED and with water, again, everything with water. So I appreciate you jumping on this, Eric, and bringing it to our attention. I think it's a great direction we're going. I'm very much in support of this. If there isn't any other comment, is there a motion?
I would move to approve the use of tax increment financing funds for the Community Montana Planning Grant Match for the Wheatland Targeted Economic Development District.
In the amount of?
In the amount of $16,666 from the TIF.
Are we safe at that amount, Eric, or do we need to go higher for any reason? Like
Madam Chair,
yes.
I'm using that to suffice for that 2-to-1 match. So,
okay.
Yeah, I believe that will suffice.
Okay, perfect.
I will second that motion.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to use tax increment financing to funds for the Community Montana Planning Grant Match in the amount of $16,666. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Eric, Bill, thank you so much for taking time. I'm sorry you had to sit through an hour and a half before we got to you. Thank you.
Nicole takes the cake for most agenda items I've seen with the Broadwater County Commission.
Yes,
She usually does.
Yes, she does.
She keeps that crown.
She's like, go big or go home.
Is it a crown of jewels or thorns, though, really? That's the question, right?
But the
Depends on
crown's
the
in your
day.
office, whatever it is.
Thank you, guys.
Nice to see you both.
Be in touch, thanks.
All right. I want to add, too, that we will discuss TIF and TED more on the December 17th agenda. I think obviously we voted on the grant today, but there's still more to discuss, and I encourage people to be involved with the discussion and talk with us. There's a lot of questions on the TED, and it helps when more people are thinking about it. All right. Last but not least, we have board letters. You don't want to stick around?
She has work to do.
I have actual
Actual work.
something. You don't really need me for this. do you?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, so we have several letters, and we kind of approach this a little bit differently this year, trying to kind of get ahead of things so we're ready to rock and roll in January. I will say thank you in advance to all our members that have participated, that are not submitting letters of interest to for a new term, or those who have resigned or are resigning. Just thank you for your time, for your efforts and participation in all this. It's really important. And thank you to those in advance who have supplied letters of interest. I was going to do this by board, if that's okay.
Sure.
Just any letters of interest or resignation or just not renewing. All right, first board, let's see, I have the Fair Board, and we have Sheila Stenzel, and I think when we approve this, you guys, we can just approve, I lost my pen. We can approve all of it kind of together like we do claims, if you want to do that. Debbie, does that work for you?
Sure.
Okay. So first one is Fair Board. Sheila Stenzel is not going to apply for another term. And she just said due to personal reasons, she needs to tender her resignation as a member of the Broadwater County Fair Board. I've enjoyed my time participating in this process. I will serve the remainder of my term through December 31st, 2025. Okay, I'm going to write these all down. All right. Next board we have is...
Are we going to approve these at the end?
Yeah,
Is that
that's what I'm
you're saying?
thinking, kind of
Okay,
like the
that's what you're
claims, like go through
Okay,
them
I
all and
wasn't
then approve
following
them,
you. Okay.
all, accept all resignations and,
Sure.
um,
And we
letters
can
of
each
interest.
read our own letters, unless you want to read them all.
Oh, you can, thank you. I didn't know if you wanted to today because
Yes.
words,
Well, sure.
yeah. You, go for it. You can do airport.
Airport. Yep, I had it right in front of me. You changed it up. Bob.
Sorry.
Airport, Bob Hollister. Would you,
It doesn't matter. You can
Okay.
do the resignations. You can do,
do you want to go through all the resignations?
No, I think let's just do it by board. So if there's a letter of interest and a resignation for that board, just
Okay.
read what they are and then we'll just
Okay,
go through.
Broadwater County Airport. Having been on the Rosebud County Airport Board for 30 years and the Broadwater County Board, I feel it is time to resign and let a younger generation learn about the airport. That is from Bob Hollister. He is resigning. And then Seth Wolfgren wants to renew. And his letter says, I am expressing my interest in continuing to serve on the Broadwater County Airport Board. I'm a local business owner with 25 years of experience managing finances and logistics for various companies. My father and I own a hangar and an airplane, and I enjoy the freedom that it brings. I believe that local airports are important to the community on many fronts. Community airports provide emergency critical care, medical access, flights to individuals in need, and allow recreational pilots from across the nation places to do that have not burned airspace associated with them. Thank you, Seth. And this would be for a 3-year term.
3-year term. I think everybody who is putting in a letter of interest today is a 3-year term. Based on your email, Daleen. Thank you. Do you want to do the museum board too, Deb? Do you want me to do that one? I'll give you a reprieve. All right. For the museum, we have 3 letters. One is from Robert Tootle, and he said, I would be very interested in serving on the museum board. Sincerely, Robert Tootle. That's a 3-year term, as is the next one, which says, Dear Broadwater County Commissioners, I would be happy to continue serving on the museum board for another term. It is important that we preserve our history for future generations. Sincerely, Georgia H. Munns. There is one resignation, which is someone who is not going to continue to the next term. This is from Kevin Flynn, County Commissioners, and Linda Huth. Kevin Flynn will not be returning as a Broadwater Museum Board member at the completion of the current term, which ends in December of 2025. Thank you for the learning opportunity the past 3 years have provided. Sincerely, Kevin Flynn. Let's see, do we want to go ahead and do Parks and Rec? Do you want to read that one? Do you have Jen's updated letter? If you don't,
Yeah,
if
I
you
didn't know
don't.
that one was on the,
Here.
I'll make it.
okay, perfect. It's on the bottom of that pile.
Yep.
To the County Commissioners, I am submitting this letter to inform you of my interest in remaining on the Parks and Rec Board for another term. If my board membership is accepted, my desire is to remain as just a member and to discontinue as chair of the board. With caring for my out-of-state mother, extensive personal traveling, and membership in several other organizations, I do not feel I can contribute to the proper time and effort required to be the chair of this board. We have made significant progress in Parks and Recreation planning over the last few years, and I would like to continue on the board to see the projects evolve to fruition in whatever manner available to make it happen. I am willing to put in the effort to physically work on the ground and to liaise with other community organizations toward fulfilling the plans we have put in place for Parks and Recreation development in our county. Please consider my request for another 3-year term on the Parks and Recreation Board as I look forward to a positive decision to continue my membership. Respectfully, Jen, I never say her name right.
Dalrymple.
Dalrymple. I always mess that up
Thanks
somewhere.
for reading that. I was thinking fair, and then it was Parks and Rec. I should
fine.
have done that for you. Thank you. Okay. Last one is a resignation. You guys okay? Yep, good. Okay. Last one's a resignation for the mosquito board.
Just so I have this all in the right same spot here.
Thank you for reading that.
Yeah.
Debbie, did you want to do that one? And then I
I
That's
can.
Jesse's.
oh, Jesse,
Jesse's
sorry.
stuff.
Sorry.
I know, we
I
had
really,
I mean,
I
he's the
messed this up.
liaison, I'm happy to
Yeah.
read it, but
Sorry. I'm thinking
You are wrong,
you're
yeah.
for noxious weed.
yes, I
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Dear County Commissioners, I am resigning from the Three Forks Mosquito Board and not reapplying for membership. The structure of the board seems to be to get the meetings over in 30 minutes or less and do not take time to solve problems. When I started taking care of mosquito problems, we had a budget of less than $600 per year of the taxpayers' money. New homes have been built in the district since then, but not enough to make current personnel payments. The problems that were brought up last year must have been swept under the carpet. We were told the State Department of Revenue was taking care of it. There are 800 plus property owners that were charged for Three Forks Mosquito District on their property tax statements that were to be repaid because they were not in Three Forks Mosquito District. What has happened with that problem? This past summer, I witnessed a pickup truck with a fogger running going so fast on Riverview Road that the fog barely rose to the top of the cab. Those applicators that know their craft drive much slower, allowing the fog to rise to the elevation the mosquito swarm flies. Another thing that I think is a misuse of taxpayer money is putting mosquito traps at the new rest stop on Highway 287. I do not believe the rest stop pays any tax money or has many mosquitoes present. The place where the mosquitoes are bad is along the Jefferson River, especially after the ranches across the river flood irrigate their pastures and hayfields. Sent via email as requested by, that was from Larry Phyllis.
Okay. So obviously, Jessica Bushnell, who is our noxious mosquito and weed coordinator, knew Larry was resigning, and she did want to send in a statement, which I told her we would read regarding this. And she says, "Good morning. I want to take this opportunity to address some of the details in Mr. Phyllis's resignation letter. I would like to start off by offering a sincere thank you to Mr. Phyllis for his years of service to the Three Forks Mosquito District. This season was difficult in the Three Forks area. The contractor initially hired to provide services had not provided any control or monitoring as of June 30th. After a call from concerned residents, Broadwater County began providing treatment on July 7th. It was also discovered that the contractor was not providing treatments to all citizens of the district, but only to a select area. We began trapping and monitoring to establish treatment routes and began treating the entire district. The Montana Department of Revenue has corrected the taxable boundary for the district and has resolved the issue. The district's equipment is calibrated and validated each season by certified technicians not affiliated with the county. Our truck is equipped so that the unit releases the adulticide or fog based on speed and automatically adjusts the rate to ensure the appropriate amount of incesticide is released relative to speed. Our operator also adjusts the route to take advantage of the conditions to ensure the best dispersal. I do wish Mr. Phillips had contacted me with his concerns during the season, as I can pull up application records down to the second and verify the speed and rate at a specific moment. And we could have provided the staff with corrections if needed. The fog moves through the air column and disperses. The mosquito species in Montana typically fly at 25 feet or less, and the equipment and products we use target them effectively with the fog produced from the unit. Broadwater County traps mosquitoes for a few reasons. One is to establish treatment thresholds. Two is to monitor vector-borne illnesses such as West Nile virus. The rest area trap that Mr. Phillips is referring to is within the district border. The northern boundary is Wheatland Road. This site was chosen because we might expect more West Nile virus activity there. A unique item on the agenda for all the boards I serve is the board roundtable. We use the agenda space for each board member to bring up items for discussion. This might be interesting industry news, thoughts, or concerns. This fosters discussion as a board and allows us to add items to future agendas if we need to make decisions. Mr. Phillips never took advantage of these opportunities to bring forward any of his concerns. So thank you, Jessica, for writing that in. Obviously, you're very involved with your boards. Again, we are very thankful to have people who are willing to serve on our boards and take the time, and greatly appreciate it. Let's see. Did either of you have any comments, thoughts?
No, I don't.
I think we could do a motion to approve board recommendations and letters of interest, which are all 3-year terms for the following boards, and we could just list those if that would work for both of you. You want me to do that?
Do we have, I have resignation like others. Have those boards not met?
I don't think so. I just did the ones, so Daleen had sent this email on the 25th that just says
yeah, I have that one.
who we're waiting for still. Which ones do you have? I just went with the ones
I have
we
Board of Health. Is that
No,
the-
Board of Health that did not, because they didn't
have not
meet.
met.
So they'll
Okay.
meet on the 15th because they had to
Okay.
cancel their last meeting.
Okay. With you now.
Yeah. Is that it?
Isn't that your fault? Yeah.
Debbie, you didn't have any others?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to, if I'm missing somebody, please tell me. Okay. Let's see. I will move to approve the letters of resignation and letters of interest, which are all for 3-year terms, for the following boards: Fair, Airport, Museum, Parks and Rec, and Mosquito boards.
I will second that.
Okay. There's been a motion and a second to approve.
I think, I'm sorry.
Oh, so go ahead.
I think we need to say their names.
Do you want to say their names?
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
do that.
Just for clarity, for
No, that's fine.
Angie's sake, because in the minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I was a little
It's okay.
behind on that.
I just knew we had a lot, so I was trying to be efficient, but yeah.
And I
that's-
think we can
that's
still
fine.
do it all as one, but I think their names need to be in there.
And just so we can say, same thing, we'll say for Fair Board, the following
Exactly.
people. Okay.
Exactly. For the record.
Perfect. All right. I move to approve board letters of resignation and interest for the following boards. For the Fair Board, letter of resignation for Sheila Stenzel, Stenzel. For the Airport Board, a letter of interest for a 3-year term from Seth Wolfgram, and a letter of resignation from Bob Hollister. For the Museum Board, a letter of interest for a 3-year term from Robert Tootle. Another letter of interest for the Museum Board for a 3-year term from Georgia Munns. Letter of resignation for Museum Board from Kevin Flynn. For Parks and Rec, a letter of interest for a 3-year term from Jen Dalrymple. For the Mosquito Board, a letter of resignation from Larry Phyllis. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Okay. All right, there's been a motion and a second to approve board letters as stated, or several boards as stated. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right. We have a couple claims and some minutes. Thank you. Sorry for that being confusing. I was trying to be efficient since we had so
I
many.
think we got it done.
But I'm glad you said something. All right. Okay, we have minutes from November 5th. Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the minutes from November 5th.
I will second that.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve minutes from November 5th. Is there any public comment? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right. Claims. Two sets of claims today. The first claim is for $329,931.10.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yep.
I messed this up.
$329,931.10.
Thank you.
The second claim is for $46,428.71.
I would move to approve the claims in the set amount.
I will second that.
There's been a motion and a second to approve claims in the set amount. Is there any public comment? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. All right. Is there anything else? Any other public comment? No meeting.
No meeting next week.
Next week, we will be at, commissioners will be out, gone. We've got Mako conference. Trying to think, anything else? There may be a meeting, the week of Christmas may be on Monday, possibly.
Possibly.
That week. Anything
And the
else?
meeting on the 17th is at 12:30,
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, thank you.
Good call.
not
Yeah,
10.
lots of meeting changes. Okay. Anything else? Okay,
I don't have anything.
we will adjourn.
Lots of agenda changes.